tonight I got an exclusive. If it's the daytime when you're watching it, then it's today. We have none other than Dominic Barnes, Homicide Report, and appreciate my Reddit followers for sending this to me, man. This is not other than the case that THF Bayzoo was arrested for back in 2009. So this one is hot off the press, and I appreciate everybody for subscribing. If you haven't done so, definitely hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up button, as this is going to get my video out to more people, and that's very important to the growth of the channel. I would be remiss if I didn't say rest in peace to Dominic Barnes. Alright, now that we got that out the way, we're going to go ahead and jump into this paperwork. There is about 126 pages or so. We'll do our best to get through them all. Alright, so we have a Chicago Police Department case supplementary report here. This is a homicide and first degree murder, a 0110 code. We know to be a homicide. And the date of occurrence was July 5th, 2009, 10:16 hours. All right, number of victims, 1. Number of arrested at this time was 0. Date submitted July 7th, 2009, 09:44 hours. All right, and we have the date submitted July 7th, 2009, 09:44 hours. All right, this is a field investigation progress violent scene report. Victims: 1. Barnes Dominic, male, black, 21 years. Suspects: unknown. Relationship: no relationship to offender. Victim injuries: type, gunshot wound. Weapon description: other firearm. Weapons used: unknown or unpublished gun make code, unknown all others. And we have the location of the incident. Dominic Barnes was pronounced by Dr. Dennis on July 5th, 2009 at 10:40 hours. We have motive codes undetermined, cause codes DNA, method code person shot, CAU code is gang related. We have witnesses redacted, a male, black, 56. All right, and we have an investigation here. Excuse me, and this is for excuse me, this is for Dominic Barnes, and his gang affiliation is possible Mickey Cobra. He was wearing a white t-shirt, gray undershirt, blue checkered boxer shorts, orange brown patterned short pants, blue gray gym shoes. Wanted individual: number 1, male, 120s, wearing white t-shirt and dark pants, armed with an unknown handgun. Number 2, male, 120s, wearing white t-shirt and dark pants, NFD. Number 3, male, 1, NFD. All right, injuries: we have 1 gunshot wound to penis, 1 gunshot wound to buttocks, 1 gunshot wound to left lower back, 1 gunshot wound left knee, 1 gunshot wound right lower leg. Taken to Stroger Hospital. All right, and we're gonna get to the manner and motive. Victim is standing near the corner of 47th and Forestville when 2 unknown male blacks approach victim without saying a word. One of the male blacks produces an unknown handgun and fires 5 or 6 times, striking the victim. Offenders run into a waiting car down the street and speed off. Motive unknown. Identified by a redacted male, 142. All right. Vehicle used is a possible 2000 Chevy Monte Carlo. We have some evidence here. Frontal view looking southbound, and you guys can pause it there and go over all the evidence. Witnesses we have here are a male, 151, a female, 129, a female, 40, to be interviewed, a female, 1. All right, and this is a canvas. All right, and this female 161 heard 5 shots, observed 2 male ones running southbound on Forestville Crossing Street to the east side. The male ones were dark complexion, wearing white t-shirts and dark pants. Didn't see faces. All right. And the other person heard 4 shots, but saw nothing. This individual heard nothing, refused further information, not at home at time of incident. Female voice heard shots, refused to open door. Heard 4 shots, heard 5 or 6 shots, heard 6 shots, was asleep. All right, we have a narrative. On July 5th, 2009, at 10:50 hours, reporting detectives were assigned to investigate a homicide at 4702 South Forestville. The victim, Dominic Barnes, sustained multiple gunshots. The victim was transported to Stroger Hospital by CFD ambulance number 57. Reporting detectives proceeded to crime scene and found the area from 4700 South Forestville to 4711 South Forestville was cordoned off with yellow crime scene tape. The area from the curb line of 4700 South Forestville to 30 feet south of the corner was cordoned off with red crime scene tape. The area was secured by 002nd District personnel. Red blood spots were found on the sidewalk within the red crime scene tape. The victim had been removed by CFD ambulance number 57 to Stroger Hospital. Reporting detectives learned from Sergeant Mitchell that prior to the arrival of ambulance personnel that the victim was laying with his head to the northwest and the victim's feet were facing to the southeast. The victim had multiple gunshot wounds to the body, which are described in the format of this report. The area to the east and west of Forestville on 47th Street consists of commercial storefronts. The area to the north and south of 47th Street on Forestville consists of vacant lots and multi-unit apartment buildings. Forestville dead ends north of 47th Street. A witness, redacted, was located and interviewed by Detective Rose. Redacted related his car, a 1996 Crown Victoria, was parked facing southbound along the west curb. Approximately 4704 South Forestville, Redacted was adding transmission fluid to his car. Redacted was talking to Redacted, male 1, early 60s. Redacted was facing eastbound when he was talking to Redacted. Redacted hears 4 or 5 shots. All the gunshots sounded like they came from the same gun. The shots sounded close, just to the north, 47th Street. Redacted hit the ground and covered his head because the shots were so close. Redacted was in the street next to his Ford. While Redacted was on the ground, he could hear people running southbound on the street past him and hears a voice call out, "We're at war." Redacted next sees the male blacks, all in their teens to early 20s, wearing white t-shirts and dark pants, run southbound down Forestville and entered a gray-colored car, 2000 Chevy Monte Carlo, which was parked at 4715/17 South Forestville, facing northbound. One of the males entered the driver's door. The 2 others males entered the passenger door. The Monte Carlo proceeded northbound on Forestville and then eastbound on 47th Street. As the Monte Carlo is driving away, Redacted says, "There goes them boys with them guns." Redacted subsequently sees the victim lying on the sidewalk. Redacted related that he could not provide reporting detectives with any information about Redacted. Redacted did not notice the victim prior to the shooting. Redacted was located and interviewed by Detective Gerzev. Redacted related that she was in her apartment when the shooting occurred. Redacted heard 4 shots, looked out of the window, and observed 2 male blacks, 16 to 19 years old, running southbound on Forestville to a small light gray 4-door vehicle. One of the males entered the front passenger side and the other into the front rear driver's side. One passenger was already in the vehicle in the driver's seat. The vehicle pulled off not fast, and Redacted observed the driver's window was rolled down and that the driver might have been a female. A male visitor in Redacted apartment who refused to identify himself related that the vehicle was a 2000 to 2005 light gray Monte Carlo and the driver had a white t-shirt on. Another witness, Redacted, was located and interviewed via telephone. Redacted related that she was in the area of 47th and Forestville when she heard over 5 shots. Redacted observed two male blacks, 21 to 24 years old, wearing white t-shirts and dark jean shorts, run toward a park gray Chevy Monte Carlo and got in. There was a male driver already in the driver's seat. The vehicle drove off, not fast. Reporting detectives checked in the area and found no security cameras or CPD pods in the area. BT-5814 E.T. Devon arrived at crime scene and processed same. Detective Bach interview redacted at Stroger Hospital related that he was down the street from 47th and Forestville and learned that someone had been shot. When he went to that location, he learned redacted Dominic Barnes had been shot. Redacted identified the person shot was redacted. Could not give any reason why redacted was shot. Redacted did add that Redacted did hang around with members of the MC Mickey Cobra street gang and that he sold marijuana in the area. Dr. Dennis was interviewed at the hospital and he related that the victim was brought into the hospital and was dead on arrival. Dr. Dennis pronounced the remains at 10:38 hours. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office was notified and INV Campbell assigned. While at Stroger Hospital, Detective Bach inspected the clothing of the victim and found that the holes in the clothing from the gunshot coincided with the wounds sustained by the victim, redacted. On July 6, 2009, reporting detectives attempted to interview redacted. Reporting detectives were unable to locate redacted. Reporting detectives attempted to re-interview redacted, but he also was not available for an interview. On July 7, 2009, reporting detectives contacted the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office and was informed by Detective Lopez, Forensic Unit, that Dr. Filkins performed the autopsy and found the cause of death as multiple gunshot wounds and that the manner of death was a homicide. This investigation continues. We have another document, and this is a polygraph document from a case supplementary report, and this was submitted on June 21st, 2012 at 12:14 hours. And we know the victim, and there are still no suspects listed, so we'll get down to the investigation. All right. Date of examination, April 24th, 2012. There are no findings, it seems, in the examination result. No examination. All right, so we have a progress report here, and this was submitted on November 4th, 2009. All right, and suspects are still unknown. All right, we have an investigation. Okay, we have some personnel assigned. They interviewed a male 116. And the narrative for this is that interview was on August 26, 2009. Detective Vovos received information from officers in the 021st district that they had a juvenile who had information regarding the Barnes homicide. BT2106B police officers came to Area 1 Detective Division and related that they had a juvenile, redacted, who provided them with suspects and a motive for the Barnes homicide. Redacted received this information from redacted. Approximately 8 hours before Barnes was killed, there was an incident at a bar called the 50-yard line at 75th East 75th Street. Multiple people were shot at after an altercation spilled out from the bar. Among those shot was a GD gangster disciple with a pretty extensive sheet named Redacted. Barnes is an apparent retaliation for the shooting of Redacted. Redacted related that Devonshea Collier, Redacted, and Redacted went to 47th and Forestville to shoot a Mickey Cobra. They saw Barnes selling weed, cannabis, and approached him. They asked Barnes, "Are you Dirt Low, a GD faction?" Barnes responded, "Yes." Collier produced a .357 revolver and shot him. It should be noted, at this time of this interview, Collier was in Cook County Jail for a violation of bail bond. Redacted related that he saw a .357 revolver at the house of Redacted, did not know the name of Redacted, but knew she lived somewhere in the hundreds. Eye-clear check of Redacted revealed no criminal activity in that area. Several attempts was made to contact one of the witnesses, Redacted were made so that a photo array could be viewed with the aforementioned subjects. Finally, contact was made with Redacted and an arrangement were made for him to view a photo array. Upon meeting with Redacted, Redacted signed a consent to view a photo array form, and after viewing same, viewed the photo array. Redacted was unable to identify anyone in the photo array. On September 27, 2009, reporting detectives attempted to locate the original witnesses, Redacted and Redacted, so that a photo array could be shown to them. Efforts to now locate these witnesses have been negative. This case remains in progress. Next document we have is another progress report, and this one was submitted on September 26, 2014. We still have no witnesses listed at this time. All right, we have an investigation here. On the 4th of June 2014, reporting detectives interviewed Redacted at Cook County Department of Corrections along with POA Pacino from Gang Investigation Division. Redacted provided reporting detectives with information related to the murder of Dominic Barnes. Redacted related that he was outside in front of the building at Redacted with Devontae Collier, Antoine Rice, and Redacted. Redacted knows Collier as Baby, Rice as Buddha, and Redacted as Redacted. Related that Christopher Campbell, aka Gunner, pulled up with Marty Vallejo in Redacted Gray Monte Carlo. Campbell told the group that there are some dirty low guys out there on 47th Street. Redacted related that the night before, one of their guys, Redacted, got shot at the 50-yard line club, and they suspected that the dirty low guys shot Redacted. Redacted related that Collier went into the building where Redacted lived. Redacted related that Collier kept a revolver in Redacted apartment. Redacted related that Collier returned with a gun, although Redacted did not see a gun at that time. Redacted related that Collier and Rice got into the gray Monte Carlo with Campbell and Vallejo, and the group drove away. Redacted related that he stayed at the rear door of the building and waited for the group to return. Redacted related that after a short time, Collier and Rice ran up to the rear door of Redacted and entered the building. Rice told Redacted, "This guy is a killer," referring to Collier. Collier told Redacted, "I told you these hollow tips will kill a motherfucker." Collier told Redacted that they asked the guy for some weed and then asked if he was dirty low. When the guy said yes, Collier said he shot him. Collier then pulled out the revolver in the stairwell. The gun was the same gun that Redacted had seen in Redacted house with the hollow tip bullets. Redacted took out the empty shells from the gun, then brought the gun back to Redacted apartment. Redacted related that Collier sold the gun to Redacted, identified clear data warehouse photos of Devontae Collier, Antoine Rice, Redacted, Christopher Campbell, Redacted, Marty Vallejo, Redacted. Redacted related that Redacted. This case remains in progress. Excuse me. The next document we have is a clear, open arrest and prosecution document that was submitted on January 13th, 2015. Now we have offenders listed as 1 Collier Devontae, alias Bebe, male black, 24 years. And his description is 5'9", 150 pounds, black hair, dreadlocks hairstyle, brown eyes. All right. Listed criminal organization is Gangster Disciple. We have a Rice Antoine, alias Buddha, male black, 24. Listed is Gangster Disciple. All right. We have identified homicide suspects were identified through the investigation. And they have a couple witnesses. All right, and we have some arresting officer. Oh, in custody, we have, this is an Area Central clear open arrest and prosecution report. In custody, Collier Devontae. All right, and we have gang affiliation, Gangster Disciples, 4-6 Woodlawn faction, aka Bebe. All right, and We have the date of arrest, location, and we have one in custody, Antoine Rice. It's also gang affiliated with the Gangster Disciples from the 4-6 Woodlawn faction, aka Buddha. All right. And there's another individual in custody at this time that was one of Christopher Campbell, male 127, gang affiliation, 4-6 Woodlawn. All right. And then we have Marty Vallejo, male 133, gang affiliation, denied. All right. Charges and court information, released without charges. Statements, we have Campbell Christopher, ERI video statements. They interviewed Christopher Campbell, Marty Vallejo, and a female 134. On the 5th of July 2009, the victim Dominic Barnes was shot and killed at 4704 South Forestville. It was learned through reporting detectives' investigation that the victim left a store located on the corner of 47th Street and Forestville Avenue and was shot during a verbal altercation. After interviewing witnesses, reporting detectives identified offenders who participated in the shooting death of Dominic Barnes. See supplementary report dated September 26, 2014. On the 3rd of November 2014, pursuant to the investigation into the shooting death of Dominic Barnes, Marty Vallejo was placed into custody and transported to Area Central Detective Division to be processed and interviewed. Once at Area Central, Vallejo was placed into an interview room with ERI activated. Vallejo was advised of his Miranda warnings by Detective Hickey. Vallejo related that he understood the warnings and agreed to answer questions regarding the shooting death of Dominic Barnes. Vallejo related the following information regarding the incident. Vallejo related that he was in the parking lot of the redacted building hanging out with redacted Christopher Campbell. Vallejo related that they were sitting in redacted's gray Chevy Monte Carlo smoking when two guys he knows as Bebe and Buddha came up to the car. Bebe and Buddha asked Vallejo if he can take them to the store on Forestville to get some blunts. Vallejo related that he agreed to take the guys. Bebe and Buddha got into his car. Vallejo identified iClear Data warehouse photos of Antoine Rice as Buddha and Devontae Collier as Bebe. Vallejo also identified Clear Data warehouse photo of Christopher Campbell. Vallejo related that he drove to the store at 47th and Forestville. Vallejo related that he drove around to 48th and then north on Forestville. Vallejo related that he then parked the gray Monte Carlo on the east side of Forestville, just south of the alley. Vallejo related that he could see the store from where he parked. Vallejo also related that he observed two older guys working on a car and some other people walking around. Vallejo related to reporting detectives that Collier and Rice got out of the car and went to the store. Vallejo related that at first Collier was going to go by himself, but Rice told him that he would go with Collier. Vallejo related that he didn't see Collier and Rice go into the store because the entrance was around the corner. Vallejo related that a short time later, he observed Collier and Rice on Forestville next to the store, and Collier was arguing with the victim. Vallejo related that as Collier and the victim were arguing, they were standing very close to one another. Vallejo related that Collier pulled a gun from his waistband and shot the victim. Vallejo related that the victim immediately fell to the ground. Vallejo related that he did not see the victim with a weapon. Vallejo related that Collier and Rice ran back to the car and told Vallejo to let them in. Collier and Rice entered the driver's side of the Monte Carlo and told Vallejo to drive away. Vallejo related that he drove back to the building located at Redacted, and then Collier, Rice, and Campbell all went their separate ways. For a verbatim account of the interview conducted with Marty Vallejo, see ERI video log. On the 4th of November 2014, pursuant to investigation into the shooting death of Dominic Barnes, Christopher Campbell was placed into custody and transported to Area Central Detective Division to be processed and interviewed. After arriving at Area Central, Campbell was placed in an interview room with an ERI activated. Campbell was advised of his Miranda warnings by Detective Halloran. Campbell related that he understood the warnings and agreed to answer questions regarding the shooting death of Dominic Barnes. During the course of the interview, Campbell related the following information. Christopher Campbell was shown a photo of Redacted, who he identified as Redacted. Campbell related that he remembers when Redacted got shot at the 50-yard line club. Campbell also related that he knows about the shooting at 47th and Forestville. Campbell related that Vallejo was in the driver's seat and he was seated in the front passenger seat. Campbell related that the vehicle was a gray Chevy Monte Carlo that he believes was owned by Redacted. Campbell related they were approached by two guys from the building who asked Vallejo to bring them to the store on 47th Street. Campbell related that the two guys were Buddha and Bebe. Campbell identified photos of Marty Vallejo redacted as Marty, Antoine Rice redacted as Buddha, Devontae Collier redacted as Bebe. Campbell related that Marty agreed to bring Collier and Rice to the store on 46th Street. Campbell related that Rice and Collier were younger guys from the area. Related that Rice and Collier entered the back seat of the gray Monte Carlo, and the four men proceeded west on 47th Street toward Vincennes. Campbell related that as they passed the store on 47th and Forestville, they decided to stop there instead. Campbell related that Vallejo drove around the block and parked on the east side of Forestville, facing north. Campbell related that Rice and Collier got out of the car and walked to the store. Campbell related that he observed random people in the street working on cars and going about their business. Campbell related that Rice and Collier went into the store for a second and came back out of the store. Campbell related that Rice and Collier talked to a few different people before he observed Collier talking to the victim. Campbell related that he observed Rice walk to the corner of 47th and Forestville. He then observed Collier arguing with the victim, but he could not hear what they were saying. Campbell related that Collier and the victim were standing very close to each other when he observed Collier pull out a gun and shoot the victim multiple times. Campbell related that Collier pulled the gun straight out of his waistband. Campbell related that the gun that Collier had was a large frame silver revolver. Campbell related that he did not see the victim with a gun or any other weapon. Campbell related that after the victim fell to the ground, Rice ran up to the victim and went through his pockets. Campbell related that Rice took money from the victim, but he doesn't know how much he took. Campbell also related that Rice was in possession of a black medium-frame semi-automatic handgun. Campbell related that Rice and Collier ran back to the gray Monte Carlo that he was sitting in with Vallejo. Campbell related that Rice and Collier entered the vehicle and told Vallejo to take them back to the building. Campbell related that after the car arrived at Redacted, everyone got out of the car and went their separate ways. For a verbatim account of these interviews conducted with Christopher Campbell, see ERI video log. On November 4, 2014, Antoine Rice was placed into custody at the Cook County Department of Corrections pursuant to the investigation into the shooting death of Dominic Barnes. Antoine Rice was transported to Area Central Detective Division to be processed and interviewed. After arriving at Area Central, Rice was placed in the interview room with ERI activated. Rice was advised of his Miranda warnings by Detective Halloran. Rice related that he understood the warnings and agreed to answer the questions regarding the shooting death of Dominic Barnes. During the course of this interview, Rice related the following information. Reporting detectives showed Antoine Rice several clear data warehouse photos. Rice identified the photo of Christopher Campbell as Chris, the photo of Marty Vallejo as Marty, and the photo of Devontae Collier as Devontae or Bebe. Rice was also shown a photo of the gray Chevy Monte Carlo bearing Illinois plate of Redacted that is owned by Redacted. Rice identified the vehicle as a vehicle that he had seen around the neighborhood, but Rice could not say who he had seen driving the vehicle. Rice also denied ever being in the gray Monte Carlo shown in the picture. Rice denied any involvement in the shooting. For a verbatim account of the interviews conducted with Antoine Rice, see ERI video logs. On November 5, 2014, pursuant to the investigation into the shooting death of Dominic Barnes, Devontae Collier was placed into custody and transported to Area Central Detective Division to be processed and interviewed. After arriving at Area Central, Collier was placed in the interview room with ERI activated. Collier was advised of his Miranda warnings by Detective Halloran at 14:52 hours. Collier related that he understood the warnings and agreed to answer questions regarding the shooting death of Dominic Barnes. Reporting detectives showed Devontae Collier several clear data warehouse photos. Collier identified redacted as redacted, Antoine Rice as Buddha, redacted as redacted, redacted as redacted, Christopher Campbell as Gunna, and redacted as redacted. Two reporting detectives that he used to live in the building located at Redacted. Collier related that he has hung out around that particular building for a long time. Collier related that of all the pictures that reporting detectives showed him, he only hangs around with Redacted and Antoine Rice. Collier related that the other guys are not redacted because they are not in his age group. Reporting detectives asked Collier specific questions regarding the shooting death of Dominic Barnes, at which time Collier denied any involvement and invoked his right to have a lawyer present during questioning. The interview of Devontae Collier was terminated by reporting detectives. For a verbatim account of the interview conducted with Devontae Collier, see ERI video log. On the 5th of November 2014, Redacted arrived at Area Central Detective Division. Once at Area Central, Redacted viewed two separate physical lineups. Redacted was unable to make a positive identification after viewing the physical lineups. The details of the physical lineups are detailed in an Area Central Progress lineup report. Redacted was then interviewed by ASA Randy Tyler along with Detective Hickey. Redacted related the same facts to ASA Tyner that she had previously related to Detective Hickey. Redacted related that she went to the store located at 47th and Forestville. Redacted related that as she attempted to walk into the store, a young male black subject was looking into the store through the window of the door. Redacted related that the male opened the door for her and she entered the store. Redacted then related that she left the store and was walking through the vacant lot behind the store when she heard multiple gunshots. Redacted related that she then observed two younger male black subjects running to a gray Monte Carlo that was parked on the east side of Forestville. Redacted related that one of the males was holding a handgun in his hand and that he was the same male that she observed looking into the store window. Redacted related that after the Monte Carlo fled the area, she went to the victim and held him in her arms until the ambulance arrived. The previous interview was documented in an earlier Area Central Progress report. ASA Martin approved the charge of first-degree murder on November 6, 2014 at 12:52 hours on Devontae Collier. Collier was scheduled to appear in Branch 66 on November 7, 2014. Antoine Rice was released without charges at this time for a continuing investigation. Christopher Campbell and Marty Vallejo were also released without charges. The detectives request that this assignment be classified as clear open arrest by arrest and prosecution. All right. And the next document we have is a progress report. And this was submitted on November 13th, 2014. And we'll get down to an investigation. This is an interviewed individual, female 134. On the 10th of July, 2014, reporting detectives interviewed Redacted, related that she lived in the building at Redacted. Redacted related that Collier always kept guns in the house and always carried a gun on his person. Redacted related that Collier would hang out with Redacted at their apartment. Redacted identified clear data warehouse photos of Redacted, aka Redacted, Marty Vallejo, Christopher Campbell, aka G-Man, and Antoine Rice, aka Buddha. Redacted related that she remembers when Redacted got shot at the 50-yard line club, but she doesn't recall hearing about the guys retaliating for that shooting. Redacted also related that she is aware of the conflict between the Dirty Low and the 46 and Woodlawn guys. Redacted related that Christopher Campbell and Marty Vallejo always hung out together. Redacted also related that Antoine Rice lived in the building and would hang out with Collier in her apartment. Alright, now we have a morgue report that was submitted on July 10th, 2009, 0742 hours. All right, and we have investigation. Dr. Filkins performed an autopsy on the remains of Dominic Barnes. and determined the cause and manner of death to be multiple gunshot wounds. All right, and we have number 1 gunshot wound to the left side of left knee, lodge. Number 2 gunshot wound to left side of mid left thigh, lodge. Number 3 gunshot wound to mid left back, lodge. 2 shrapnel rounds to front upper right leg, internal. 1 medium caliber copper jacketed bullet recovered, and 2 other medium copper jacketed bullets recovered from internal as well. And the next documents are going to be a slew of crime scene reports that we'll just speed through to get to more of the supplementary reports until we see some information. All right, here we have a 1 Dominic Barnes. And here we have a 1 Devontae Collier, aka Bebe. And at this time he was being charged with murder in the 1st degree. And they'll probably list all the and this is him here as well. Skip past all this. All right, and now we're at a progress lineup document, and this was submitted on July 9th, 2014, 1828 hours. We'll slide down. Okay, seems we have a photo array lineup. Okay, persons viewing the photo array was a female 133. Persons participating in the photo array. In array 1, we have seemingly, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 individuals. The second one is not redacted. The rest are redacted. The unredacted name is a Rice Antoine. Array number 2, we have unredacted name of Devontae Collier, and there are 6 redacted blocks as well. Same for array number 3. There are 6 redacted blocks, but the last unredacted block is Christopher Campbell. In array 4, they have Vallejo Marty in this array. In array 5, they have completely redacted. Persons identified in photo array lineup. Array number 1, no identification. Array number 2, no identification of subject. Number 3, Collier Devontae. Number 2, they identified. Okay, no. Array number 2, identification of subject. Number 3, Collier Devontae. Excuse me. Array number 3, no identification. Array number 4, no identification. Array number 5, identification of subject. Number 6. All right, we have an investigation here. Reporting detectives interview redacted, and she related the following information. Redacted related that she was walking to the corner store at 47th and Forestville when she observed a male black subject looking into the window of the front door of the store. Okay, so this is the same individual witness statement, and I guess they were corroborating her statement with a photo array. So she is reiterating the same facts, and she stayed with the victim until the ambulance came. Redacted was presented with a CPD photo spread lineup advisory form for each photo spread. Redacted understood and signed each advisory form and looked at 5 photo spreads with the results documented above. All right, and this is another progress lineup document. And this one was submitted January 11th, 2015. Okay, we have a redacted person viewing the lineup. Persons participating is 1 Devontae Collier. Persons identified, none. All right, and there was a second lineup viewed by a redacted person. And this one contained a Rice Antoine, but no person was identified. We have a history and investigation. Circumstantial witness redacted related. She observed a male black subject looking into the window of a store that she was going into. Redacted related that she left the store and moments later heard several gunshots. Redacted then observed the same male black with a handgun in his hand with a second male black subject running to a waiting vehicle. The vehicle then fled the scene. Devontae Collier was identified by a witness as the person who shot and killed the victim, Dominic Barnes, at 4707 South Forestville on the 5th of July 2009. Collier was placed into a physical lineup with 4 other male black subjects of similar demographics. Collier was allowed to choose his own position and chose position number 3. Redacted reviewed and signed CPD lineup advisory form. Redacted viewed the aforementioned lineup number 1 and was unable to make an identification. Redacted was identified by a witness as a person who participated in the shooting death of the victim, Dominic Barnes. Rice was placed in physical lineup with 3 other male black subjects of similar demographics. Rice was allowed to choose his own position, and he chose position number 3. Redacted reviewed and signed a CPD lineup advisory form. Redacted reviewed the aforementioned lineup number 2 and was unable to make an identification. All right, we have some handwritten documents here. I've interviewed a male 120. All right, reporting detectives interview redacted along with police officers from CID. Redacted related that he was outside in front of the building. Okay, these are just witness statements. Building at 46 something in Ellis with a Devontae Collier, Antoine Rice, and redacted related that Christopher Campbell, aka Gunner, pulled up with Marty, now known as Marty Vallejo, in redacted Gray Monte Carlo. Gunner told the guys that there are some dirty low guys out there on 47th. Redacted related that the night before, one of their guys got shot at that 50-yard line club. Yeah. So this is just a handwritten statement of that. And yep. And he says they pulled. This is where they say that Devontae is a killer. Devontae told redacted, "I told you the hollow tips will kill." Devontae then pulled out the .357 revolver that in the staircase redacted has seen in the past in redacted house. And he took out the empty shells. Devontae then put the gun in redacted house. Redacted related that Devontae sold the gun to redacted. It's female 134. Lived in the house with her. BB always kept guns in the house or had a gun on him, kept a gun in the house. G-Man Marty, right? Just some more statements there. And the other statement from the female 133. All right, and that takes us down to the end. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.